Russian banking regulation and regulation of collection activities. So till now, there is no special law on regulation of collection activity. There are tons of inclusions in different laws, in codes, but the main part now is in law on consumer lending. Russian would say use 3 digits, 353. So there is a really big clause on collection, which is in reality just gives some framework. What should collection do, when they can call, how they should act, and so on and so on. So for many years, draft of the law, different types, different kinds of different versions of the law on collection activities had been prepared. National Association of Professional Collection Agencies had prepared, to my knowledge, at least 2 drafts. Even succeeded to introduce it to the State Duma, to Parliament. But unfortunately, regulation, not only on collection activities, but a lot of things on retail banking still is not there. It's very simple. It's not in priority list. It was not in priority list, and it still is not in priority list. Maybe because of crisis, maybe because of credit crunch of 2008 and the current crisis and the current situation in Russia that would speed up a little bit adoption of that laws. But if that would happen, that would happen mostly because of the coming elections, and that would be very unfair regulation, unfair to the banking, unfair to the collection activities, to collection agencies, and unfair to the society. So that would be done mostly to have some extra scores for elections, for coming elections. So that means the draft of the law is very populistic, and that may create tons of issues, really tons of issues for banking first, and for collection agencies second. But that would not fix any issue. The issue is that in reality, if you will look more and more deeply, you will understand that if the law is not executed, if someone may violate the law, doesn't need to be the law there. So there are tons of discussions that the collection law doesn't exist, that's why collection people do not act properly and do something which is incorrect. But my usual answer, our usual standard answer is that, okay guys, but civil code exists, criminal code exists, and all other codes exist. Why police doesn't follow it? Why police doesn't act based on it? So you may hear a lot of cases, especially now in Russian media, on almost criminal activity of some people called themselves collections agencies, collectors, and so on and so on. But in reality, on the other hand, you may see all the cases when people report to police, and the police officially report there is no violation. So if society, if community says there is violation, if everyone says there is violation, why enforcement structures says no violation? They just don't like to execute the law because it's really painful. It would not happen easily, but that's a point which somehow should be fixed. That's the one thing. And another thing, if you think about investments into Russia, so let's say very simple. So the model collection agencies works in Russia, there are 2 ways. One is to act as an agent, and another one is to buy the portfolios. And fortunately or not, to buy the portfolios is becoming more and more difficult. From one hand, Russia is still considered as a risky country. From other hand, investors are not ready for much longer return in terms of time, return on their investments. So keep this in mind. But I do believe that this market would exist, this market has great potential, and that great potential is not about just getting extra cash. That great potential is about cleaning up the market first and setting up the rules.